welcome back to my channel. Today's video is on 10 ways to stop living a cluttered life. If you are feeling overwhelmed in literally any area of your life, I have so been there, and this video is for you. As per usual, I've included timestamps in this video. I'm gonna be doing a whole series next month on spring cleaning and decluttering my whole life, so definitely make sure to click the subscribe button so we can go through that together. The first way to stop living a cluttered life is literally one of the greatest acts of self-care I think anyone can do for themselves, and that is to create margin in your life. If anything is guaranteed in life, it's that no matter how organized, prepared, or on top of things you are, things are going to happen beyond your control. The unexpected is inevitable. Creating margin is a really practical way to prepare yourself for the unavoidable chaos that life brings. This is a huge part of how I manage my time. For years, I saw blank space in my calendar as something that needed to be filled. An empty slot in my day or week was something that I felt like I needed to fix. I was also extremely burned out, exhausted 24/7, and I literally didn't have time for the healthy habits I wanted to build. Building margin into your life is the shift that means seeing those empty spaces as opportunities. Not to be filled, but to rest or give yourself whatever it is that you need. There's a specific part of my week that I dedicate as my catch-all time. This is a period that I've set aside to fill with tasks that don't end up getting done throughout the rest of the week. That can be work stuff or household stuff, catching up on texts. Having that space has saved me from so much stress and anxiety because missing a task no longer means I'm behind. The next way to stop living a cluttered life is to use digital tools and digital planning to limit your workload and mental exercise. I've mentioned the concept of building a second brain before, and I still haven't read the book, but it is a principle that I've been carrying with me as I'm building digital systems and setting myself up for success. It's founded on the idea that your brain is so creative, so good at problem solving, and excellent at short-term memory. But keeping track of a million deadlines and text conversations and family birthdays and people you need to email back and vacation planning, that's a different story. Trying to keep track of those things takes so much of your brain power, and honestly, it's just exhausting. The good news is we live in an era with so many tools to lighten your load. Take advantage of it. I'm a huge fan of digital planning personally, although you could totally build a physical system to do this as well. A great way to declutter your life and your brain is to build an external source for your mental data. Writing down what needs to get done and setting reminders for myself has been so freeing because it's no longer on me to remember everything. I am not good at that, and I was exhausted from trying to be. Letting automatic reminders come through when it's time for me to start a project. Having Notion pages where I've previously broken down exactly what needs to get done each day means that I just have to show up and follow instructions, which is so much easier and again allows my brain to focus on the things that it's best at. The next way to declutter your life is actually just for my digital planners, so if that's not you, skip to the next timestamp. This is to choose one or two platforms for your digital planning system and then stop. Listen, there are so many incredible websites and apps and softwares that you can use nowadays for planning, which is incredible because there's literally something for everyone. But it can be so tempting to hop on all of them or keep trying new one after new one. And the problem with spreading out digital planning over 3 or 4 platforms though is it almost defeats the purpose of having it in the first place. I've found it extremely helpful to limit my digital planning to 2 softwares. Personally, I use Google Calendar for detailed time management and Notion for literally everything else. I do have a couple videos up on my digital planning system, so I will link those somewhere on the screen or in the description box so you can check those out later. Those 2 platforms don't integrate super well, but they have very distinct roles in my workflow, so it ends up totally fine for me. This is super personal, so you need to find what works for you, but this is what works for me, and it's been awesome. Okay, the last time-related habit is to actually schedule yourself in tasks that you tend to forget. This is really just about knowing yourself and your strengths and weaknesses. I suck at texting back. I am really good at mentally replying to people right away and really bad at actually hitting send. This habit ended up causing a ton of issues for me this year because I'm also the same way with email, and I'm self-employed, and not replying to emails was very, very bad. So I actually ended up scheduling it into my calendar. It's the first thing on my to-do list for every single workday, and I set aside time to do it again at the end of the day just to keep conversations flowing quicker. Knowing that this is a weakness for me has allowed me to build a system that supports my success in it, and it's been so helpful. The next habit I want to talk about for living a cluttered life is to actually practice missing out. It is so easy to operate with completely overfilled, overbooked calendars for so long without realizing it. When you pull back and you intentionally remove yourself from that lifestyle, you give yourself the chance to breathe in a different way. Evaluate where you're at, or if there are things that you want to change. When you practice missing out, you get more comfortable with the idea that you don't have to be there for everything. And sometimes that might cost you, but what you get in return is so worth it. I've talked about this next habit so much lately, but I just could not leave it out of this video, and that is closing your kitchen every night. night. This only takes like 20 minutes if you do it consistently, and it's just that time to load the dishwasher, wipe down any surfaces. It sets you up for success in so many ways the next day. Beginning the day with a clutter-free kitchen gives you such a sense of accomplishment, and it also means that even if you have a super hectic day, your kitchen can only get so messy. This is the daily habit that I've been really working on this year, and you guys, it honestly makes such a difference. One crucial habit for decluttering your life is to create a cleaning schedule. I don't know about you, but I can find cleaning very overwhelming when it feels like a big project. Cleaning the whole house is something that I need a few hours to do, and so it can feel really daunting to try and take on the whole thing at once. Establishing kind of a cyclical cleaning routine can be such a game changer. If physical clutter and mess is something that is really stressing you out, it can feel so much better to actually designate certain days or periods of time to tackle a certain area. I'm still figuring out exactly what this looks like for me in this apartment, but I've kind of decided that Sundays are the day I usually do a bit of a weekly reset. So I'll wash our bedding and our towels, get those all ready for the week, meal prep, kind of organize the fridge a bit, but I don't do the whole apartment this day. I usually do the rest of our laundry on Mondays. I want to start doing bathrooms on, I think, Tuesdays, but I really love the idea of tackling one specific thing every single day. On a larger scale, the next way to declutter your life is to schedule in times to do a full reset. Like I said, I do kind of a Sunday weekly reset. That's what works for me in this stage of life, but I think it can be super helpful to schedule in larger, more detailed resets periodically. This could be things like a spring cleaning or a quarterly deep clean. It might be setting aside a certain time to go through your closet or your junk drawer. Having a designated point where you know that you're going to get back to ground zero feels very reassuring. It's also really easy to avoid those big tasks without putting them in the calendar. You have the intention of getting to them, but they never actually get written down or scheduled. And let's be honest, they're never really top priority. Creating a plan makes you much more likely to follow through on it. One huge habit to stop living a cluttered life is to evaluate the commitments in your life. If you are feeling overbooked, overburdened, and overtired, there's a very good chance that you may just be taking on too much. I always feel the need to put in a disclaimer when I say this, that like, I don't have kids, I'm 23, and it's really easy for me to come on here and say like, don't be busy. So none of this is meant in a critical way. I just know that I've had so many times in my life where I felt like exhausted and like there was nothing that I could do, and honestly there was, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to give up time with friends, and the FOMO was real. And at the same time, when I did end up taking some steps back, I feel like I got myself back. And it gave me this space in my life to actually figure out who I was, what I wanted, and what steps I needed to take in order to get there. The next habit to stop living a cluttered life is probably the most predictable one on this list, and that is to go through your closet. My general rule of thumb is like, if I haven't worn something in 6 weeks, and I'm not gonna wear it in the next 6 weeks, unless it's a seasonal or like event piece, I don't wanna keep it. I'm not gonna get rid of summer clothes that I'm not wearing in the winter. I can't tell you how much time I have saved by sticking to this rule. When I go to pick out my outfits in the morning, there's not that many options. I've ended up only having clothes that I love. No matter what I put on for the day, I usually feel really good, and that has not always been the case. Sticking to this rule helped me be a lot more intentional with what I purchased, and ultimately I got a lot pickier with what I ended up keeping. I would say I am much better for it. Those are all the ways to stop living a cluttered life that I wanted to share in today's video. Definitely make sure to leave a comment and let me know if you have any other thoughts, if there's anything you feel like I missed. I really appreciate you being here, and I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I hope you have a good day, because today is a good day to have a good day. And that's it. Bye.